All right, thanks for doing this. I think first of all, we'll actually take a look at the overall tournament and get your thoughts on any of the players that you have any knowledge about, or of course how the Protoss are going to do, and then we'll move over into some particular matches. Emphasis probably on PvZ and PvT more than PvP because that seems unlikely to happen. But here's the link to Wikipedia if you need it.
Okay. So, should we just go over all the Protoss players in the winner bracket? Okay, so Astray Gumiho is the first Protoss. It's a bit hard to know how Astray is playing right now because I feel like he's a very preparation-based type of player, and so is Gumiho, right? So this match is, I think it's very hard to predict, and in my opinion, both of these players. Okay, I don't want to be any like offensive or anything, but they're kind of they don't rely that much on their in-game skills and mechanics, and more on preparation, right? Like Gumiho is a type of player who like you look just on overall statistics, right? And you're like, oh, maybe he's not that fast, he's not that, I don't know, his micro is not that good, but his preparation and his build orders are amazing. So it's very hard to predict how Gumiho performs in one tournament, right? Because he can finish, he can get, if he prepares well, he can get to GSL finals, right? And we already saw that. So I think this match is very hard to predict, and yeah, I really can't predict it because of that. So because it would rely too much on preparation. I really like how Straya plays and experiments with Storm. I think this is a very big new style that is emerging right now in PvT. Because I think, like he was the first person who was playing. I think he was playing something like Storm Immortal into Tempest in PvT.
Okay.
Against Bian on IEM, if you saw these games. It was like half a year ago, but he was one of the first players to do that. I was very impressed when I saw that, and I use some of these ideas myself nowadays as well. So when it comes to hero, I think he's a clear favorite in this match with Solar. Yeah, because I watch a lot of hero replays, and I find it very hard for Zergs to play against players who specialize in their early game that much. Another thing I want to say about Hero that I noticed is that if you look at his Aligo lag, he didn't play a single tournament match in like 1 month or so. He only played WTL from the online tournaments, although he's a grinder, right? He usually plays all the online tournaments. But he actually only played WTL, which is obviously mandatory for the team. So I'm very excited about that. I feel like if Hero brings something that people do not expect from him, it can also bring a lot to his play. So I think here he's like a clear favorite. I would say it's 2-0 for him.
Okay, that's a good point.
Against Solar.
Realized he had been hiding.
So he's kind of like, it's not even the fact that he's hiding, but I feel like he changed something in his preparation, right? Because before for IEM and for the tournaments, he was practicing a lot on tournaments. Because this is how we consider practicing, right now, that you just play a lot of the tournaments, and this is kind of your main practice. But at the same time, all the people can see that what you're playing, right? And I guess for Hero, he was like, okay, maybe the people blind counter me too much, and they play around expectations with me too much, and I will try to not do this time, and we'll have a different approach. So I find it very interesting with Hero.
That is very interesting. Yeah, I think he's been winning against Solar anyway, like previously too. So he's just generally favored. What are your thoughts on a Hero Serral match that seems likely for the next one?
Before, I would say like 90% Serral, because I play Serral myself and I know how strong he is. But like really, the fact that he hides something, I think is very big, because once again, Serral is a dude who's gonna go over all the games Hero played in the last couple of weeks, and he'll figure out what he probably gonna play, right? But in this case, I feel like it's much harder to prepare for hero. So it makes this match more even, in my opinion.
Okay. Be interesting. How about Classic? How's he doing?
So Classic PvT is mostly, not mostly, always Storm, never Disruptor. And with Storm, I don't even mean like Storm opening, like Stalker into Storm. I mean like Colossus into Storm, or like he can play like Phoenix Colossus into Storm, or he can play, I don't know, like Colossus Storm into Carrier Rush, like what Stats really likes to do. So he's more about Storm and more about getting a big army and a move, and like getting carriers, rather than like nowadays we play a lot of low gas styles. With as Disruptors, Mazealot, Stalker, or Storm, Stalker, Colossus, Zealot, right? Very, very fast. A lot of Zealots, always trades, many gateways. But Stat is kind of the opposite. He goes for more of a death ball approach. So I find it a bit. Yeah. So I don't know how prepared Clem gonna be, but another fact about this match is that Clem is in Korea, right? And he's practicing for this match.
Yeah. For
this match and just a tournament in particular. I feel like this is a very big
opportunity.
Big point, yeah, for Clem, because I feel like this is not nothing like no insights. It's just the feeling I got from playing him last couple of months. Maybe I feel like he was a little bit burned out, maybe, or like uninspired, and I feel like this kind of long-term career practice bring you back into the rhythm, right? And like they bring you back into competitive spirit.
Okay.
So I think it's also gonna help him. At least I hope so. So I think this match should be like Clem should be a very big favorite. Yes.
Yeah, and he's won against Classic 5 times they've met.
Yeah, but like also like we're talking about this, but this is based on the previous performance of the Classic, right? And he also can prepare something special. Like he's once again, I would say he's like a Protoss Gumiho in a way. He's not that his like characteristics are not that high, but he's very good at preparing and good at figuring out stuff. So he can just come up with like some new build or some new 2-base Alun or 1-base Alun that we never seen before. So yeah, there is this factor, but I think on paper Clem should be like very, very favorite.
Okay. And just in general, taking away the players here, what are your thoughts on the performance of Protoss? Do you think you guys are doing better versus Terran nowadays, or doing better versus Zerg, or worse anywhere?
Well, it's in a weird spot at the moment, I feel like, but I would say PvT feels very good for TOS generally. And PvZ, I don't know. Like, if I struggle a lot in PvZ, to be honest, I don't really know a single Protoss outside of maybe Hero. Okay, in Max Packs.
Yeah.
Who are not struggling against Zerg. So,
okay. I feel like I heard, at Dallas and a little before that, there was some Protoss were kind of happy with certainly the balance changes. And it seemed like it might be kind of swinging that way too. Like Hero or Protoss having a better time. But I was talking to Mana, and he was talking about how Zergs, especially like Raynor, we highlighted, but in general, seem to be kind of mixing it up more. Like they don't need to just be the defender and do everything right on the defense, and then they'll win. They really have to add in more all-ins. Do you agree?
Yeah, for sure. This is kind of my problem, because on paper, like if you take like AI against AI, or like Super Alpha Star against Super Alpha Star, then maybe Protoss is favored. But in reality, like I play and like I don't know, I just died to Mutus, or I just died to Swarmhost, or there is like an insane lurker timing, and I was like I was in the wrong position and lurkers just come and I can't fight them anymore, and stuff like that happens all the time. And it makes it very rough. So like maybe on paper, maybe it's okay, maybe it's favorable for Protoss even, but in reality, also Protoss is a race that works this way, right? You like there are so many things that can go wrong, like you can have a perfect game, but you forgot to put a zealot in the wall, and many links just got in and you died, right?
Yeah.
Stuff like that they can happen. Or like, for example, you have a max out army, but you forgot your High Templars, right? Your army just gonna get deleted if you have no High Templars. So, and like there are a lot of things like that, especially in high stake matches. So
cool.
That's why I kind of prefer the way Hero is playing, where maybe his play style is not optimized, but his skill checks every second of the game. Like he always goes with something, he always attacks, and even if his play doesn't make any sense, his opponent gonna mess up at some point and die. And I think this is just the best way of playing. Like if you look at two best Protoss players in the world, MaxPax and the Hero, they do the same thing, like literally. It's just in a little bit different way. Like MaxPax is more methodical and Hero is more chaotic. But if you just look at what they're doing, they're just like similar. They're so similar.
Yeah, I like what you said. So, you said Hero is always testing.
Yeah.
That's a really good way to put it. Sometimes, I don't think he's going to go for an attack, but then he kind of moves out anyway. And then he is the one that takes advantage whenever he sees a moment with aggressive blinks. So testing, that's a good phrase.
Skill testing is the proper phrase.
Yeah, skill testing, yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, that's great. And then Showtime, obviously not placed yet, but he's got one chance. Any expectations for Showtime?
I mean, it's very hard to predict from the losers bracket, right? I mean, he can go far. I think he plays well, but it really depends on the bracket, right? And I believe this is a single elimination bracket. So yeah, like it's very rough. It's hard to predict anything.
It's also best of threes as well down there, so it's even difficult to predict.
Yeah, like he can get unlucky with some point and just lose to 0-2, but he can also maybe go to like couple rounds more, or maybe even more.
Yeah. I mean, I have faith that it'll do well, but that is a pretty brutal match, pretty brutal starting point. Anything else as far as the players? Do you have any like feelings about how people are performing? Have you faced any of the other races and you get a feeling that they're playing better, worse, average? Like you face Hero Marine, do you think he's playing as good as ever? Because he's been absent from the Open Cup, so I actually haven't really gotten a feel for him.
Yeah, I think he's just playing his normal level.
Okay.
No highlights, like no good, not bad, just normal. Yeah. I think Oliveira is very good. I was thinking, I don't know, like I thought Bian is a bit on a slope, and he is, like especially if you look at the Lugulak, he dropped a lot of points, but maybe lately he's doing a little bit better. Other than that, I think, to be honest, Classic maybe is a bit better than people think of him. Especially as of late. Like he didn't qualify to GSL, right? But he got a lot of insane runs in the KFC Cups and stuff. And I think in general he plays quite well. And he figured out some things that work for him. So yeah, he might perform well, but I'm not sure if he will be able to beat Clem.
Yeah. Any thoughts on Raynor? He's been actually participating in the Open Cups more leading up to EWC.
Yeah.
So he doesn't seem to care so much about being seen. But he is performing better every time. So do you think are you prepared for him to be out of his slump, or?
I think he's much better now. He's much better now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think if he's playing, some of his best, then he's going to beat Kira actually really, really one-sidedly. So we'll see if that's true. Okay. And then just like your opinion on this, Eon Blue mentioned that he actually wonders if there'll be like more upsets because there's so much pressure on this tournament. And I know you're someone who's worked with, their mentality over the years. Do you think that we're gonna see like literally the top tier play? Because Mana said like we're gonna see top tier play. Like everyone's practicing just for this. It's gonna be some amazing StarCraft. But Eon Blue is like, well, I could see upsets happening because it is so much pressure. It's like potentially the last StarCraft 2 tournament. It's $1 million on the line. You have your teams also now depending on you to get points. What are your thoughts on the performances from the players at the actual tournament?
I think knockout break is gonna be crazy. Like a knockout break is very similar to the qualifiers we had, right? And if you look at the qualifiers, to be honest, they were one of the best like game-wise, you know, like
yeah, there's a lot of good ones.
like yeah, and like a lot of upsets in the qualifiers as well. Like a lot of good people, including some people. Yeah, I don't want to name.
Yeah.
Like I mean, like me and Mana, for example, we just died round 1, right? And
Yeah.
like this probably does something with like the tournament.
Mhm.
Of course, the format is also like very brutal, but it probably adds up as well.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Now let's go ahead and jump into Starcraft. The NA server. That's what I got.
Yeah. Comment.
Yeah. Max Pax lost to you yesterday, so I don't have a lot of PvP. So I mean, I have your game actually. Did you think that your games yesterday were any good? Like any interesting ones?
You mean against Zerk or?
Oh, against any race.
I mean, I don't know, like I have a 40-minute game against Battleby, but this is too long. I'm not sure if it's interesting. I played against Max Pax, but with Max Pax it's hard because he once again he's a guy who plays very differently, right, from the other
Yeah.
Protoss players. So
yeah.
So yeah, like if you have good replays or like if you like, yeah, up to you. What do you wanna do?
Yeah, if you don't have anything like super interesting, then we can just catch some of the games that I have. So I have show off. Let's see, Classic Dark. Actually I think I do want to take a look at this because this is on Ghost River.
Okay.
You can just join channel ZombieGrub so I can add you. And this might be the all-in, but what I'm interested in is how Protoss are even defending some of these all-ins on Ghost River. It seems extremely difficult.
Okay.
So I know this is like a PvP, but there's also the ZVT, like or sorry, PVT, like the early push tank, I think, included in Marines. And I think I have a replay somewhere with that, but I need to find it. So Ghost River seems extremely difficult for you guys. What are your thoughts on the map, and how often are we going to see it in these best of 5s and best of 7s that are actually quite numerous?
I don't know. Perfect. Personally, I think this is my most favorite map in both matchups.
Really?
To be honest, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Why is that?
I mean, you say like the rush distance is small, right, and they're lean, but like it's actually so easy to defend. Like there is a ramp with a rock that is hard to go up on, and like another ramp is also hard to attack into. So like it's very easy to defend. And Protoss is also quite good in split map scenarios, right? Both against Tern and Zerg if you play correctly. So like in most of the cases, to be honest, you can just AFK, like you literally do nothing, and you just mine your half of the map and you win. This is how I feel about this map. So like so other races they're kind of forced to attack into a very defensive map. That's what I feel like.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I know. I've been seeing so many Protoss struggles on this. Like I know that if you guys don't get all-ins, there's some pretty powerful positions in the middle of the map for like proxy pylons and a gateway and some stalker pressure.
Yeah,
definitely seen a lot of that, and I think that makes sense. But then there's the early all-ins that really seem to be problematic. Although what, actually this might not have been one of those. This actually I think goes into swarm hosts. Yeah, which Dark has been experimenting with a lot more. Have you? So you said that you've died to swarm hosts, I guess, like recently. It's in your memory. Are you seeing a lot more swarm hosts? Because I know Dark's experimenting with it, and he did it versus Terran as well, which was interesting.
People play swarm host on this map especially and Amphion. I would say two main swarm host map are Amphion and this one. Because on this map you can camp behind the main base, behind the second base, right? And on Amphion, I mean, it just neither swarm host is very good because you can always,
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Okay, yeah, I do remember this one. This we went over, and it's Classic just makes a big mistake moving out basically because I think he's actually playing a really good game. Really tries to counter.
Blink for gateways, very standard stuff on this map.
Yeah.
Some adepts to clear the creep. sees roaches.
And there's a swarm pit.
Okay, he goes for storm. Yeah, Stalker Storm is what he really likes, I think, to do. But I don't know. Did you see the KSL run that Classic had like a couple of weeks ago?
It's possible.
He played against Solar and Dark.
Okay.
And he 3-0, 2-0. And he played one build. He played two Oracle into Glaive's Adepts every single game.
Oh, really? Every single game?
Yeah.
And it was that effective?
Yeah. I think it's a very powerful build as well, and he probably gonna use it, like probably not in every single game, but from time to time, especially here. Like I believe he opened up to Oracles, right? So I guess he's selling the idea that he might, maybe playing something similar to, like, this is how Protoss works, right? You always wanna sell some kind of idea and fool your opponent in some way. So this is probably what he is doing nowadays, because if you have this kind of mind games, right, like it doesn't make sense to play 3 Oracle and when you play Glaives play 2 Oracle, right, because it's going to be so easy to understand what's going on for your opponent, right? But if you actually only play 2 Oracle openings, then this Glaive build orders becomes like 10 times more dangerous, because it kind of has to balance out between getting ready against Brinkstalkers or Charge Zealots or getting ready to fight Adepts.
Yeah, no, that's an excellent point. I have been seeing that Adept build, of course. I didn't realize it had become so pervasive, though, like Classic doing it 5 times in a row. That's actually pretty insane. Yeah, this game's kind of over from this point. And I see it work, and then I see, like, I think I saw Raynor defend it, like, I guess a Serral would, like, pretty easily, which is weird. I wish I knew which games I had. No, I was casting it.
So what do you want to watch exactly? Which matchup? Maybe I can suggest something.
PVZ, I think.
Like
right now.
PVZ?
Yeah.
Okay, let me think.
And preferably some with, like, the players that are actually going to be in the tournament. So I have like Astray versus Dark here. I don't know what actually happened in the games, but we can take a look at it, because Astray is also like a kind of a more unique Protoss, I guess. And Dark's a special Zerg. So again, on Ghost River.
Yeah. Astray really likes Nexus first, that's what I know.
Yeah, and so what, it's kind of funny. I have the same question for Terran, but, what are you really afraid of when you go for a Nexus first? What is the most likely thing to punish that from the Zerg?
I mean, just greed. I just feel like you have no opportunities to punish your opponent.
So it's more like I don't have the opportunity to punish the other guy.
Yeah. Your tech is too late, and you just, I don't know, like it's too passive. And we were discussing the max packs and the hero, right? That they're so good at attacking all the time and dealing damage, and this is what Nexus first takes away from you, which is not great in my opinion.
Okay, all right.
Like I don't know. Yeah, I don't know the exact math, because like maybe it's even not that good economically, because Zerg maybe can macro out of it, but just from the feel of the game, I experimented with Nexus first a bit. I really feel like it takes away way too much, and you have too little opportunities to do something.
Okay, all right. Well, then what would be the benefit then, besides just setting you up more economically? I mean, do you have a powerful push later on? Do you get your third base?
I would say one thing that is very important is that if you're the only person who plays a certain style or build, it makes it twice as strong, because people can't get enough practice against this, like the thing you're doing, right? Like it probably, like if you talk about, let's say, Christiania, right? He's the one who plays Archon Drop into Immortal.
Yeah.
For 5 years in a row, but like he's literally the only one who does it, and he does it very well, and people struggle. Like even top Zergs, they struggle against this.
Yeah, it's different.
So yeah, it's a very big benefit of of it.
Okay. Pretty standard stuff so far.
Yeah, like the most standard Astray game I've ever seen probably in my life. For adepts, yeah, I mean, like this is super standard. For adepts, the oracles, Twilight, Forge probably, and Dark is going for the Roach attack, and Astray technically scouted it, right? Because he saw a gas. So now he should be aware of that.
He saw the third gas.
Yeah, this is suspicious. This is suspicious that he saw a gas.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure if he realized what's going on. He got a battery, so maybe? Oh, this is... Okay, now he sees roaches, he killed queens. Yeah, but these links are very, very, very annoying. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, this is what I was talking about, right? Like, his stalkers were just a little bit out of position, not in the... Like, in between the pylon and the Nexus, and it died. And
Yep.
it's probably gonna make his hold much harder now.
Love the battery.
Yeah, and also, like, not even this, he also warped, like, 2 adepts, and, like, his army just doesn't exist right now, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
no,
he could have 6 stalkers now, but instead he has 2 adepts and 2 zealots.
Okay, and was there a reason he did?
I have no idea. To be honest, I don't think so. He panicked, maybe?
Yeah, it seems like a panic move.
Like, look at these stalkers. Like, imagine if they're in the choke, like in between the one in between the mineral, another in between the pylon.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. And now he kind of panics and warps to zealots, and like these zealots are absolutely useless. So.
Yeah. Oh, that is a problem. But then he warps into depths too.
Yeah, depths I'm not sure. Maybe the plan was to overwhelm the queens with oracles and a void ray and kill the links with adepts. I mean, it's not the worst plan. Like this, maybe it's not that bad. Like, let's see, because I think after killing these 2 queens with his oracles at base, he has a chance to hold now because of that. If he kills the queens and the oracles kill everything else.
Yeah, I see that. Okay.
Carry, but I think it's okay. Okay, it's barely not okay.
Now, if the wall holded more, if wall held more, then that would have been okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Just a little bit unfortunate. This is what I mean, that it's easy to lose with Protoss.
Yeah.
Like something goes a little bit wrong, and that's it.
Do you think that the 6 stalkers would have been? Okay, so we definitely know they're possible. He could have saved its first 2, and then he could have warped in stalkers instead of anything else.
Or like adepts even. Like, yeah, I mean, just losing the stalkers is big, and like this to zealots is big, and to be honest, maybe even like 4 oracles would be better, because maybe, or like not 4 oracles, but like, you know, like another oracle and another oracle, because void ray takes a long time to build. So maybe he could have like 4 oracles and 5th a little bit earlier, so it would deal with all these links and ravagers. Couple more units. Probably would be a comfortable hold. Like, I really don't think these alliances are that powerful on this map. If you don't lose your units.
Yeah, it sounds.
Also, I believe he lost like 4 adepts right at the start. I forgot. I think he shaded 4 adepts across the map, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, and these adepts died, so this also could help. Like, so in the end, he could have 10 units from the gateway at least. But he had like 2 adepts and 2 zealots.
Yeah.
Which is not very.
Yeah, it seems so brutal still. Like, I know that's kind of Protoss's lot in life. You guys are on a razor edge, but
yeah,
that is brutal. Hey, road, but. Your beat while we get on.
Okay.
So, thoughts on Oceanborn?
It is just the most standard map ever. I think everyone likes it. Like all the Terrans, all the Protoss, all the Zergs. I feel like we just played every single best of 3 even.
Be the case.
Okay, another Nexus before core. No, but not Nexus first, so mixes it up a little bit.
They thought Australia was going to do something.
Yeah, I mean, we can look at the follow-up. So this time follow-up is different. You see, 2 oracles only.
Yeah, that's why.
Twilight, 1 gas, probably. Yeah, okay, yeah, that was what I was thinking. It's gonna be 4 gate blink. This kind of, I don't know. I don't know if this build is any good. It's very good against Queen Walk. So if you let's say we play Alcyone, right, and there gets quick third base on quick second base actually on the gold base, then I think this build is very good because you have many stalkers and it's easy to defend. In this case, Astrea went for it. Maybe he was. I guess it's decent against Dark because Dark is so aggressive, right? So maybe you can utilize it to defend against Queen Walks and such. Or like Nidus with Queen Link, maybe. But in this case, he just uses Stalkers to kill creep, which is not, in my opinion, not justified, simply because Adepts are doing it better. Like you can just have 3 Adepts, right, and kill all the creep, but you make Stalkers, and Stalkers are so expensive, they take so long to recharge. On the gateway, so I'm not sure if Stalkers are worth it really.
Yeah, it didn't seem really because like Dark just is able to hold with queens. You know, they bought time, so he felt comfortable sending those lings across the map, and then more stalkers work out. So it seems like I'm a fan of when this gets committed more. You know, like Hero was doing proxy gateway, and you know Forgeless more gateways with blink stalkers, and I liked that. I thought that was cool if you get it up. But this seems like it's been relegated more to just a defensive thing because we see it on those shorter maps, as you were saying. I think I'm kind of with you. You know, like not that my opinion really matters, but I feel like it's also not as useful just to have those tiny amount of stalkers on the front.
Yeah. What I wanted to say, maybe a little bit of a controversial opinion, but I think if Protoss players prepared well for his VPs, they barely gonna play any stalkers because I feel like at this point stalkers are so garbage and everyone kind of like anticipates it. I think ideally Protoss players should in PvZ should play like either like charge Archon into Storm, or they should open up with like double robo or something. Or you mean of course I'm talking about Stargate follow-ups, right? Or like double robo right away into Storm, something like that. I think it's so much stronger and it's just stronger. Like Stalkers are too expensive and too useless, and they're countered by everything. And you know, like you are kind of forced to deal damage in the early game, but you at the same time you kind of give away this damage a little bit because if Zerg is behind, but he got like +1 melee early, then he just has a very comfortable game against Stalkers. So I think that's gonna be a story of it. So yeah. These openings, what's good about Stalkers is that they're kind of safe, right? So like if you're talking about Queen Pool, it's probably a bit safer, but not really, because you still don't really have Blink ready, right? So I guess you're gonna die to Queen Walk if you play like 2 Robo or something, but even if you just play Twilight Forge Charge +1, like it doesn't really change math for you, you know? You're still gonna... You're just gonna make units, you're gonna make shield batteries and cannons, and if you do well, you're gonna hold. And after that, it doesn't really matter. So, yeah.
Yeah, we're seeing, you know, this attack. I know that you also had that done to you yesterday. The Ling Hydra Lurker fairly quickly. I think actually taking a look at your game over on Europe might be the better way.
Sure. This is just a Dark thing because this was not a build. He just rushed Lurkers on tier 2, which shouldn't be a thing. I don't know. I don't know why he did that. But anyway, this is what Zergs usually do. They rush like a very quick hive. Sometimes they even skip the upgrades completely, and they just go hive right away, and after they get +1 attack for their hiders and lurkers, and these timings are very, 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 very strong. Very annoying to deal with. Yeah. Especially if you open up Stalkers, because you end up with so many Stalkers that don't do much.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
You can...
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember that map was? So you played...
Golden.
It was Golden Ore? Okay.
Yeah.
Because it seems very powerful when, the Zerg gets into the proper location. And I was, taking a look at your game and maybe what you could have done better or should have done. I think it would be helpful.
Yeah, sure.
Obviously, when it's interrupted, I can kind of get a feel for how poorly it's going. And Trainer's had a couple of experimental games, it feels like. Or, his builds have gone poorly. But then if they don't, like this game, feels very strong.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about it, I guess, when we see it. Don't want to spoil anything, but I just know exactly what happened, why it was so hard in this game.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, blocked, went adept. Shaded, okay. Yeah, nothing really happened.
I remember this game. Yeah, you were out of position.
Yeah, but I was out of position because I had no oracles left.
Right. Yeah.
This is kind of the problem. Like, if you have no, I mean, you should never lose oracles. But if it happens, it kind of feels over.
Yeah.
Because.
Oh man.
He's very good with his queen positioning, and like sometimes you AFK oracle somewhere, and the queen just comes and kills you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like this one was unfortunate because he had queens on high ground and.
Yeah, you almost found the timing too in the second oracle, but then it turned around on you.
Yeah. And like the third one as well, I think died somehow.
Mm-hmm.
But like other than that, it was alright, I think. I mean, it's obviously awful when you lose 2 oracles because it's 600 resources, but everything else was like, I was just macroing, building probes. So this is like a build order I was talking about, right? Maybe it's like not perfect build order, but just something like that, This setup like charge, +1, robo, and you just build probes.
So at this point, what is the intel that you have that's going through your head right now? So you just revelationed the main, but very little other information.
Yeah, I'm just trying to gather some info. Now I see everything. Now I see that there is a tech. Yeah, now like, okay, everything is clear. I'll just gonna... Yeah, you see I get Storm right away because I'm not afraid of Mutas anymore. Because this is another... Yeah, that
makes sense, okay.
This is another thing that Zergs like to do. I skip Archons because Archons are kinda useless. Yeah, I just get Storm, I get a good setup. Get a battery. It was a bit unfortunate here because I shaded my... like, look, I have a battery finishing, I shaded my depths across the map to Zilnaga. And at this point the links come, so like everything kinda goes wrong.
Yeah.
Like, happens, I guess. Like, I have no oracle, so it's very rough.
Yeah, this is a very unfortunate game for you.
Yeah.
Lucky at every turn.
Yeah, so, I mean, if the game would be a bit better, I mean, like, even now it's fine, right? But the main issue for me is that I have no oracles.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I have oracles, what you can do, even if you're a little bit behind, you can just revelate the army and you can stand in front of it, right? Because there can't really go and attack you with lurkers because he has to siege preemptively, right?
Yeah.
So if I can just posture my army perfectly, then it's fine. But here I could probably be a little bit smarter with the way I move. But it's much easier with oracles, like leave a zealot in the middle somewhere and just stay in these bushes. I think it would be the best. But sometimes it's, like, let's say he's gonna kill the zealot on top, right on Zelnaga. Like if he's also smart with his movement, it's hard because he will clear my zealots that controlling them up with Zerglings, and I won't have any vision. So it's just very important to save the Oracle. And yeah, as you can see, he just comes, and there is very little I can do when Zerg is in such a position, especially with queens, because queens are very good at tanking.
Yeah.
So they just stay in front, and some lurkers are like, as long as I can't surround him, there is not much I can do.
It's and then it's kind of what I was saying. It's like this already was such a brutal position for you. But all right, so you say that like this is actually a very typical point of defense right now where you're set up. This is it can be very good. Obviously, if you have a revelation, you can kind of confirm that it's good. But it did look like Raynor preempted that. So this is so well practiced by the Protoss versus Zerg. Because, I mean, well, he took his own away, I guess. But then he also kind of sets up this potential surround, I suppose, in case you're still there. How would you deflect that? How would you have deflected that, you know?
I mean, ideally, you have 2 side traps underneath.
Oh, okay.
And Zerg can't really run into you. And to be honest, I think if I, like in this case, right, if you just look at the army, I think if I just stay there, AFK, in the bushes or like in the middle on my potential like 5th base, there's one left to my 3rd, right? I don't think he can jump on top of me because he still has no range upgrade, and like one storm and like Zerglings die and Hydras die, and he has only 7 lurkers, I believe, like 8. So this army is not very competitive. I just need a couple of extra warpins and it would be fine.
Yeah. All right.
So like this game is like purely being out of position, but I was out of position mostly because I lost my oracles.
Right.
That's pretty much the story of it.
Okay. All right. Let's actually jump over to PvT. We got time. So I want to take a look at, a pretty idealistic game of the low gas. You get to Colossus, you get to your mass gateway armies, and discuss how that works out. So let me see if I have a perfect example of that.
Yeah, so many replays of those.
Hearthstone, I think, had a couple. Like Hearthstone Spirit series, I think, has a couple of those examples.
Like the best example of it is Clem against Stats from Dallas. Winner stage.
Okay. Yeah.
I can open it if you want. I have this replay.
We wouldn't be able to watch it together because it's old. You can send
really?
it, though. Yeah.
Okay.
You can send me it and I can follow along with you.
Okay. Okay. This winners. Clem stats. Yeah, I can probably watch your stream, right, and tell.
Oh, or that. Yep.
Yeah, I sent you. This is like the best example, and I think this is the game that a lot of people got inspiration from.
Okay. Origins.
Yeah.
All right, I should. Oh, I did.
I've watched a lot of replays over the last couple of weeks because I do some YouTube videos, and this is pretty much what I do there.
Yeah.
I watch some of the games, so yeah, I've been watching a lot. I know a lot of theory. Where the certain style first appeared and stuff like that.
Well, that's pretty cool. I didn't know this was kind of the origin point.
Like for example, I talked to Showtime, and he also got inspired a lot.
Okay. Cool.
By this particular game.
Hey, is Stats one of the guys that you continue to look at, even though he's not maybe like performing used to?
Yeah. yeah. I think he's very smart. He's a very textbook player, and it's very easy to follow his in game plans as well. Like he's very, like you just look and you understand everything. What's like why he's doing certain things.
Yeah.
Like his hero, right? You look at it, you say like, what are you doing? Like this doesn't make any sense, but this works because this is essential way of Hero's playstyle, right? But
yeah, I think you can't copy Hero because it's so feeling based and
yeah,
different games every time. And then Stats would be the guy that you would maybe be able to replicate. But
yeah.
It's nice to know though that he's not only someone who's playing Protoss as perfectly as he can get it, but it's also that he is still kind of pushing the meta. Because that's what I wouldn't know. I definitely see Stats as a guy who had his prime time. He got very good pretty quickly too, which is great to see. But for me, it was always like standard Protoss, Shield of Ire,
No, not at all. Like in PvT right now, Stats and Classic, they're very similar. I think they both really like the career stuff.
Okay.
With Storm. So yeah, I like they're the best two Protosses at that.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is also the build that everybody uses now. This is 3-gate blink, just very safe, all around build order.
2-gate, or is he actually?
No. For now. It's always 2-gate for a bit. After you go Robo Pylon, gate.
Okay.
Because you need your third gateway for your second warp in. You can't have enough money to afford everything. Like a battery, 3 units, and all the gateways. So you delay it a little bit. You just need it a little bit later, so you have enough units to defend.
All right. So the 3-gate has really become one of the standards. It's just so good at protecting you from any of these early game Terran shenanigans, or is there any other reason?
Yeah. Like 2 gateways that we used to play is just greedy. Like if you get away with it, it's great, but you just die. And like PvT is so much about not dying to anything. What else? On top of that, Cyclones openings, of course.
Yep.
On top of that, you have potential to counterattack even something goes wrong. Like for example, you play against Helion Drop, and like they kill some props to you, but you're like, okay, maybe I can just go counterattack and kill them. Like even if you have no props. So it's always scary for Terran. And once again, it follows a general trend of being aggressive or like having more options to do something to your opponent.
Yeah.
So this was once again a very standard way of approaching the matchup for Terran. Like they just come, they try to kill the wall. Stats was very patient. He just let the pylon die, repowered it. Yeah. So this is also what you usually do. You defend the first wave, and you just leave like 3 Stalkers at main base, and another half goes across the map to either meet the push or blink on top, get a couple of SCVs and stuff like that, or like on that. Yeah. So yeah, Immortal for safety, Colossus for I don't know, just good. Colossus good. Yeah, Forge. I'm not sure what is start scouting right now, but I guess. Okay, I mean, in most of the games, you kind of go off feeling because you just know, like what certain build order should do to you, and like if you deflected it easily enough, you kind of feel fine. I don't know if you watched the game. Just a couple days ago, there was a game Lemon against Maru on WTL on Alcyone.
No, I did not see that.
And Lemon was playing this style, and he didn't see his opponent's second base for 15 minutes. So he literally saw that his opponent spawned on the another part of the map with his prop, and that's it. He didn't do anything else.
Yeah.
So this is how we approach the matchup most of the times now. That we just sit and like just get a good standing army.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, Stats has very little scouting in this game.
He's
very good at tracking the army though.
Like this is exactly what I was like. This is the same game Lemon played, but it was like twice as long, when he didn't see anything. So.
Okay.
So yeah. So round 2, but in this position, is just you don't really want to do anything. You just sit back. You take your time. Like he killed 300 minerals, but realistically doesn't really do that much. Right, for Protoss. So we don't. Yeah, there are a couple of benches, but they didn't do too much damage in this game. So as you can see, like literally nothing happens. He just defends.
Yeah.
and he tries to get to a good position economically with upgrades and transition into.
Yeah, he's I mean, he's doing what I expect stats to do. Even more so though. Like he takes the 4th base, okay, fine, that's standard, but then he almost simultaneously takes the 5th. Like pretty freaking fast. And isn't pushing out either. But you know, what I think we're seeing from the other guys anyway is a push out. I feel like around this time, even just to get like a little control, like a little map control. Maybe they're not actually going to engage, especially when tanks are ready to go and Clem hasn't really lost much. But Stats just stays at home. Now, is he just basically like, I haven't done anything to the guy, so there's no way that this push could work? Or is that just like Stats being Stats?
Yeah, I think it's player specific. It's just Stats being Stats. Like, for example, I would probably be on the map myself. Like, I really like to be on the map, and I really like to make my opponent, I don't know, scared, I guess.
Yeah.
So I would be in the map, because as long as you are careful and you have good enough vision, you shouldn't die.
Yeah.
So,
and he's getting actually amazing vision once he moves his observers anyway. Like, he has the entire other half covered.
Yeah. So, but at this time, like, really, like, this is Stats being Stats, because he is a guy who follows his game plan, and he had a very, you'll see that probably very soon, he had a very particular game plan in the mind that he wanted to do on this exact map. So far he's just going to the direction he wanted to go. So now he's maxed out, and he probably just want to take a fight with +2.
2-1 actually. Even better.
Actually, we can see supplies on stream because of the cat. Cat blocks the supplies.
They're almost maxed out.
Okay. So yeah, I think it's just the upgrade timing. So that's why Stas decided, and he was maxed out, right? So it kind of makes sense to just go.
Yeah.
Decent.
You know, did Clem do things right there? It's a wash, so it seems like no one did anything particularly wrong, I suppose. But is there anything that you would have done differently?
I mean, as a result of this fight, I can say I think it was probably a bit better for Toss. What did it differently? I don't know. It's hard to tell. Like, this is really hard to tell. Like, probably Clem. I don't know. Let's see it again. Like, he didn't finish one of the Colossus. Look, it's red.
Yeah.
So I guess he could micro a little bit better.
Like
this was like a very close fight. So
it was, yeah. This actually isn't a good example of what I've been seeing, although it is a good example of the build and the composition. But in subsequent games since this one, I think I've also been seeing a lot of. There's been a lot more moments in my casting where I've had to point out that the Terran player doesn't have as many medevacs and doesn't have healing. Like, their army's just injured multiple battles in a row. So yeah, this isn't a good example, but I'm sure you've also seen a little bit of it.
Yeah.
And I asked Mana the same stuff, and he was like, I didn't really notice, but like, let's think it through. But you have noticed, and what has changed that I'm suddenly like pointing this out so much more often?
Because this is how the style works, pretty much. Like, you have Stalkers, you have Zealots, you have Disruptors, and you kind of force your opponent to steam you, never engage, and at some point they're gonna run out of the energy of the medevacs.
No, so this is like, the style is what's, because they have to run around so much, literally dealing with all these run-bys, also running away from the Disruptors.
Okay, I actually have a very good explanation. So why it happened, why it changed to compare to previous PvT, is because before, what Terrans would do against Disruptors, they would split push with Widow Mines, right? Because Widow Mines were so good at split pushing, because it was so hard to clear them. Now Terrans can do that, they can only sit at base. They can only attack with, or I mean, obviously they can split push, but in general they can only attack with one big ball. So we see it much more when they're going to be literally like one fight going for like 5 minutes in the middle of the map, where Terran is trying to engage into Protoss, and Protoss continuously shoot Novas to burn the medevac energy. By the way, this force field was amazing.
I remember this moment actually. Yeah. That was so sick.
Yeah. So this is kind of how you see. This is pretty much what's happening now. Clem has an army, and the stats is pushing him. And check the gateway count now. This is the biggest part of this style, I think.
20.
So yeah, like the idea is that you max out 200 supply and you start getting bank. And once you start getting bank, you just add like infinite amount of gateways. And like practically, if you have 25 gateways, you have 250 supply, right? Because you're just gonna warp. If you have a warping point, you're just gonna warp 25 zealots, and your opponent gonna die. And if they won't die they're gonna die in 20 seconds because they're gonna build 25 more after 20 seconds after the gateways recharge.
Mm-hmm.
And Terran production is so bad, right, compared to Protoss and Zerg. So this is what we kind of learned with this game, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Cool.
So like you see, he killed the disruptors, right? And like it looks better than it was before. Yeah. But like look at the supplies and look at the amount of money Stats operating with. Still 4 gas, still like just 2 robos, like no dark shine or anything. But this gateway style is just so good on this map in particular because this map is so open and Terran can't fight zealous that efficiently.
Yeah. So are there any maps where you would avoid playing this style? Or is it just good in general?
I would say it's just good in general. Like there are some maps, like for example, once again, as I said, on Ghost River, I feel like Storm Camp is very good.
Okay.
So like on some maps, I maybe would adapt a little bit, but I think generally it's just like the best style.
Okay. It does seem pretty good, but I think it's also like you made some really good points about the Widow Mine. I'm glad I'm not crazy that it is Terrans actually getting stimmed more. But the Widow Mine seems to have these ripple effects that I feel like haven't really been the highlight of any like particular analytical point. But the more that I talk to you guys, the more that I get this feeling that there's so many more repercussions about the Widow Mine change in both TVP and TVZ. I've talked to a couple of Zergs about it too. It's very interesting. You know, like obviously you see a Widow Mine missing that second shot and you're like, well, that's clearly why that nerf worked. But then to think also, well, this is why the Terrans don't have like as good of map vision or they don't get any free shots with their Widow Mines that are still on the field. You know, there's no annoyance for the Protoss anymore. You know, there'd be games in the past where you guys would literally just back off because there's like 5 Widow Mines and you lost your observer. So
yeah. This is very big. Like this is what shifted PvT so much, I think.
Yeah.
The Widow Mines.
Awesome. All right. Well, that does it. You know. Thanks so much for this. Are there anything else that you want to throw out there? Like, hey, you commentators, you don't notice this enough, or any ideas you have for how the tournament's going to shape up, or anything like that?
Let me think. I can maybe tell what I'm expecting style-wise from all the matchups right now.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Is it something interesting? Okay, so PvP, I think it's gonna be much more Archon focused.
Okay.
People started playing a lot of Immortal Archon because before I think we used to see a lot of Stalker and Zealot, like free gas, but now it really feels like it shifted towards Mortals more, Mortal Archon more. So that's it. PvT gonna be the most diverse in terms of styles. First, I think Storm is very, very, very good. You can play Storm. Like, you can, to be honest, you can play the same style we just saw. With Disruptors, you can play with Storm. You can play Storm into Carrier. You can just use Storm more often in PvT.
Okay.
So, yeah, style-wise, we're gonna see, like, low-gas Storm or low-gas Disruptor. Or we're gonna see Carrier Camp and Intel move. And mostly from Classic. I don't know about Astrea. Like, I guess Astrea can kind of play both. Showtime can probably gonna play fast styles. No way he gonna play air styles, I don't think so. Hero just gonna play anything. But I hope he doesn't play air styles because it was so bad when he played them. All the times I saw.
Okay.
Like, I don't know if you saw the game against... I forgot who it was, but he just played on Golden Hour on WTL and he lost very, very sad. It was a very sad series. So okay, PvT we discussed, and PvZ gonna be a lot of Immortals. I think still a lot of Stalkers.
Okay.
Mostly, like, I think only Oracle openings, to be honest. Like, I really don't think there is any potential to anything outside of that. Maybe Classic has some Robo all-ins or something crazy, but that's like my biggest guess. Like everything else, or like maybe Astray actually can throw something in with some Robo. But in Classic and Hero, I think they're just gonna play Stargate mostly into Blink. And maybe some like fast immortal styles as well.
Okay.
If they figured it out. Yeah.
Okay, good overview. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, and thanks for just doing this in general. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I guess just I'll get your PayPal and let you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
All right. Thank you, SKillous, for that. Some new lenses I can look at games through. Now we are going to play a brand new game, which I have, relatively little knowledge about. So we're gonna play some Stormgate. A lot of people are already playing it. I think people are starting off with the campaign, which makes sense. I think we're all interested in how that looks. So not gonna lie, I'll probably do the same thing. But also checking out all of the races as well. And then that'll be the day. So I'm gonna BRB. You guys enjoy Dimitri.